Good evening, friends. If you are a businessman, a trader, a real estate guy, or an investor in the stock market, you might have got affected as a result of a sudden rise or decline of price in a particular product. Well, in the last 3 decades, words like financial crisis, bear market, tech bubble, and recession have become very common. The world has gone through several financial crises, bubbles, and recession in the last 3 decades. Some of the well-known financial crises in the world in the last 3 decades are as follows: the recent Dubai real estate crisis, the Bitcoin crisis, the 2008 housing bubble of USA, the tech bubble of 2000 in USA, the 1997 Asian financial crisis, the real estate bubble of Japan in the 1980s. Well, however, the last 100 years, or in the 20th century, we can call the tsunami of all financial crises is that the Great Depression of 1929 in USA. So when did the financial crisis or bubbles start in the world? Well, there is no particular answer for that, but the oldest ever known financial bubble in the history is that of the tulip mania of the 17th century in Dutch. During the 17th century, tulips were brought from the Ottoman Empire and planted in Netherlands. Due to its different feature from other flowers which grew in Europe, the price of tulip flowers started skyrocketing in the Netherlands. Well, in the 17th century, Netherlands was a global superpower with established trading in Japan and other Asian countries. Amsterdam, the largest city of Netherlands, was a global trading and financial hub. The tulip flowers grew from the month of June to September. In other months, the tulip buyers would sign contracts with tulip producers for a future delivery of the tulip flowers. These contracts were signed in front of a notary. Well, the tulip demand was so high in Netherlands that the traders started trading the tulip contracts in addition to the tulip flowers. The traders made huge profits in trading the tulip contracts that by late 1636, the price of tulips as well as tulip contracts started skyrocketing. Thus, it could be said that the latest sophisticated financial instruments used in the modern world like the futures contract had its origin in the 17th century Dutch tulip mania era. Well, by February 1637, a spread of plague disease in a town in Netherlands caused reduction in demand for the tulip flowers as well as tulip contracts. The message that there is a slight reduction in demand for tulip flowers and contracts started spreading like wildfire to other parts of Netherlands. This resulted in panic selling of the tulip contracts. So the bubble started to burst. Well, whenever an asset price deviates from its intrinsic value, a bubble is formed. When the bubble becomes large and large, the bubble starts to get burst. Well, this happened in the tulip crisis as well. As a result of panic selling, the price of tulips and tulip contracts started to decline. The traders who had tulip contracts in the hand had no buyers to sell them. This led to many traders losing money and burning their fingers. In 1841, author Charles Mackay, in his book Extraordinary Popular Delusions and Madness of Crowds, I repeat, Extraordinary Popular Delusions and Madness of Crowd, explains the tulip mania of 17th century. Well, this is one of the oldest books which deals the subject of behavioral economics at a time when the word behavioral economics itself was not known. Economists find similarities between the tulip crisis of the 17th century and the Bitcoin crisis of the early 2018 crisis. Well, both crises were big financial bubbles but did not cause a wider financial crisis or a recession. Well, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and its value started to rise in 2017, and by early 2018 the bubble started to burst. Well, the Bitcoin price almost came down by 50%, and it was very similar to the tulip crisis of the 17th century. A central banker says that Bitcoin crisis is worse when compared to the tulip crisis, because in the case of tulip you at least get a tulip, and in case of Bitcoin you are just left with nothing. Tulip was just a flower. The greed for money and human emotions created a bubble out of it. Well, in today's world, with the sophisticated financial instruments and the artificial money which is being created, there seems to be lots of chances for financial crisis and bubbles to occur. Even economists are unable to find what might cause the next bubble, apart from the macroeconomical financial crisis and bubbles. In your local bazaar, where you do business, may it be trading in sugar, rice, or any other agricultural commodities, gold, silver, or real estate business, or if you are an investor or trade in the stock market, you need to be very careful. You need to carefully observe the market. And if you find that any particular product is going up beyond its fundamental values, you need to be very careful. By February 2019, it would be 382 years since the Dutch Tulip Crisis occurred. Within these 382 years, there has been several financial bubbles which led to wide-scale financial recession and crisis. Well, even though it has happened so many times, it continues to happen. So it's very important for us, the business people, traders, investors, to be very careful, whether it's the macroeconomic level or the local businesses which you do. You need to observe the market very careful and make very wise business decision. Thank you very much for watching and listening my video. Thank you.